on the Floating Village website, the floatingvillage.net, and we'll let you all know when that's happening. So without further ado, I'd like to bring in a live in the flesh speaker, and that is Michael Walsh, who's one of the Creevagh members. And Michael is going to talk about his work that he's done as a photographer, but very much based in the locale. And he's going to share, or I'm going to just quickly screen share with you now before I hand over to him, which is a PowerPoint presentation on wild bathtubs. Let's see if I can find it.
So yeah, the presentation on the wild bathtubs, it's based on an academic paper that I attempted to write as part of the Kerin Creevagh collective to do with experimental heritage. And so, yes, I have 15 minutes to explain. First of all, these bathtubs, when I came to Clare, I started noticing them, and they seem like something that's out of place in the landscape. But I began noticing more and more of them and decided maybe I could do something in experimental heritage about it and try and figure out what they're doing there. And there are all kinds of tubs, sometimes even going through the middle of walls. Some have stones on them with pipes and ballcocks, sometimes in pairs, sometimes disused, sometimes harvesting rainwater near the farm. And the area that I surveyed is marked there. And then during the lockdown, with a 2-kilometre and 5-kilometre radius, I did a very detailed survey. And I managed to find, oh yes, various different types of being approaching with kind of archaeological, different typologies of the bathtubs. And with cast iron bathtubs, then different slopes, and then later on the drop-in bathtubs, either pressed iron, pressed steel, or acrylic. Yes. Okay. Thank you. All right. And so yeah, during the lockdown, 2 kilometers. These are the tubs that are visible from the road. I couldn't go into the land, but I managed to count about 21 bathtubs in the area. And I did up a table categorizing them into cast iron, pressed steel, freestanding drop-in. And the color, they're all white originally, except one red. It was acrylic in the corner of a field. It appeared in the field just 200 meters from the house. And it was gone 3 days' time. I don't know if it was some space alien coming to land, sampling water, but he got the color wrong and it was noticed immediately and he left. Now, this is very interesting. This is a graph of the usage of the word bathtub relative to all other words in the English language. And it's a kind of unique word. It's fun putting in taxi and things like that, but it shows bathtub is a relatively recent invention. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, we'll do. Yeah. Okay, so then, yeah, I started doing an awful lot of photography of bathtubs. Originally, I was going to continue this in Åland in Sweden. The lower 3 images there are from Åland, pressed steel tub. And okay, I had to do a bit of history. The earliest one, 1700 BCE. The form has remained very much the same over the years. It's very, very standard. But originally the bathtubs, when they were brought in the house, they were portable items. They originally were very mobile. They were used and then hung up on the wall. But it was very difficult to make them so you could hold an awful lot of water and make the seals, and they tended to break and leak And then they started making porcelain bathtubs, which, yes, they turned out to be extremely heavy. They're making other ones with copper and wood and all kinds of things. And then originally they were freestanding tubs. And when they were brought into the house, eventually they became built in. Let me just get back here. Okay, so yes, when they moved from when they started being plumbed, for some reason they were actually given legs at that stage. Previous tubs didn't have legs, and the cast iron tubs continued to have legs, but then they became such an integral part of the house that they were built in. Now, adding water plumbing in a house could be very, very dangerous for the house, could damage the house with leaks, and these tubs were extremely heavy, and then when you get 2 tons of water in there, they can occasionally cause problems. And in fact, the bathroom is one of the most dangerous rooms in the house. The highest amount of fatalities. After that, it's the kitchen. So it was quite dangerous to actually allow these things into the house. And Gideon, this famous guy, he compares the bathtub to be like the Greek amphora. It's such an iconic thing of the recent century. Now, it turns out that the bathtub, cast iron bathtub, was originally a watering trough. It was by this company in the United States. And as a feature, they bought this company and they added cast iron legs to it and said it could also be used as a bathing tub. And this cast iron version of the tub solved all the technical problems of using the previous materials. Now, when the bathtubs entered Irish House, this is a graph based on total housing units, declining number of farms, then from various surveys, very few houses actually had fixed bathtubs.